We're gonna go ahead and get started here. My name is Dan Kohan, or Daniel Kohanowitz, your host. I'm a real estate investor, house flipper, wholesaler, multifamily buyer here in the Kansas City area. I've been putting these on for over a year now. Try to, help people get connected, because deals happen when people know each other. Real estate is a contact sport, whether it's with prospects or with other service providers and people that know more than you, like Pat. He's doing a lot of the same things that I'm trying to do, but he's 20 years of experience ahead of me, so I want to bring in guys like him and meet a lot of guys like you and bring them around me, surround myself with folks that are way in ahead of me so that I can learn from them and shorten my road to financial freedom. That's what I'm always trying to do, always trying to be around smarter, better, more experienced people. And so that's why we put these on, is because I think that you guys could all benefit from that as well, and all the connections that you get from the other investors, the lenders, the agents, the deal finders, all that good stuff, guys. So we're gonna get right into this. Real quick, I have a couple sponsors to tell you about. First off, we have Rex Rodenbaugh with KC Investor Funding. He couldn't make it, but guys, if you wanna get any kind of fix and flip or hard money financing, I highly recommend Rex Rodenbaugh with KC Investor Funding, guys. He'll do 100% purchase and rehab financing for your deal. And he is very surefire. There's no appraisals. Get a deal done in 1 to 2 weeks. Like when he says he can do it, it's gonna get done. There's no contingencies, no hoops to blow, no things in the 11th hour that blow up your deal, guys. If he says it'll get done, it will get done. So definitely KC Investor Funding, check them out if you guys need any kind of fix and flip funding. I've used them many times, always worked great. Also, I want to shout out RD Title and Exchange. They are a great title company for getting investor deals done, but also really, whether it's creative deals, complicated deals, sub-2 deals, seller finance deals, wholesale deals, any deals like that, RD Title and Exchange is a great title company for that. It's almost like magic. I've bit my nails a few times on some deals with the auctions and stuff for foreclosures happening, and he's able to we even had a couple just recently that they actually did get auctioned off, and he called them up and they actually got those canceled because we had already closed on them before those happened. So that was really cool to see. But if you guys want a good title company, check out RD Title and Exchange. And without further ado, guys, I want to bring up Pat Grace, Pat and Marta. We're so grateful to bless us with their time today. They're very busy running their operation, but they wanted to come down here and share. Pat's 23 plus years of real estate experience, starting from the bottom. I know from previous stories, they were both working as servers, in a restaurant and trying to flip houses on the side. I mean, they've come up, from the bottom and built up a massive real estate empire, guys. They own $40 million in real estate, 175 houses plus multifamily, commercial properties, 23 years in the business. They own United Real Estate Brokerage that's headquartered up in the Northland. And Pat's gonna be talking about why you guys should be buying in Kansas City and his proven buy and hold investment strategy that he's been using for his real estate career that's now paying massive dividends in the modern day. So guys, put your hands together for Pat Grace.
Oh. Thanks, Dan.
Thanks for coming.
Appreciate you, brother. Hey, I want to thank Dan for putting this thing together. I met this kid at church, at Vineyard Church, and he came up to me and he was like, "Yo, I'm 23 years old and I got 12 units and this and that." And I was like, "Man, that's awesome." So me and him kind of connected, and I've been kind of watching him here and there, and how old are you now, Dan? 24. 1 year later. This guy's got like 50 something units and he's just killing it. It's like, kind of reminds me of me when I was his age. I had a lot of units and was doing a lot of things that most 23-year-olds aren't doing. So give it up for Dan and everything this guy's doing here. Tonight, I'm gonna introduce myself real quick. I'm Pat Grace. I own Kansas City Real Estate Investment Services, which is like a parent company. We're like full service for the real estate investor. I've been doing this for 23 years. We've been creating and managing these portfolios for investors all around the country, all around the United States. I mean, I've got investors from Hong Kong, I got investors from China, I got investors from San Francisco, Hawaii. We just been, kind of selling Kansas City. And I wanted to talk to you guys about that and the unique opportunity that we have here because we live here, right? Like, we've got access to things that people don't have access to. What I've kind of created over the years, like when me and my wife started, we was just buying and selling our own properties, and we had like 50 homes, and we started this real estate company. Was the first company we started, and just to buy and sell our own houses, and I didn't have a middleman between me and the houses and me and the comps and me and putting in offers, which I think is really important, like as a real estate investor. And so United Real Estate is kind of what we ended up with. We started off with Grace Real Estate Company, and then we got in with United. Just the technology, the software, everything they have was just so much more than I could offer agents. And so like we started United with like 5 agents, and we've got like 350 agents now in Kansas City. My wife's the broker owner, and we pay 100% commission. So if you're buying and selling homes out here and you're making 30% money or 50% money, like one quick tip, quick hint, you can get a raise tonight. Like just go talk to my wife. Like that's, it's like you don't have to give up 30% of your commissions when you're buying and selling stuff for yourself or selling stuff for other people. And so that was something that we kind of wanted to start and nurture, and it's kind of like blown up into this big event. The second company we have is it's like a maintenance rehab company, and I handle all the maintenance, all the rehab for my customers, and it's called KC Construction. We just, we do all the rehabs, we do all the make readies, all the move outs, all the maintenance for all the customers, and we just kind of handle that situation. And then I got KC Commercial and Residential Management, which is a property management company that we own. We manage all the assets. So we're like full service, one-stop shop, for the investor. And so investors come in, they give me money, and I give them title. I give them title to something. I don't just take money from people. I'm selling product to them. And so every year I'll sell 100 to 150 homes to my investors. We'll manage them. We'll bring them into our portfolio. And, every year me and my wife, we'll keep 20 to 30 homes. We just kind of keep the cherries, the ones that we want, the ones that we like to keep. In this room, how many people in here are real estate agents? Oh, that's a lot. I didn't expect that. Oh, how many people are mortgage guys? The mortgage guys, like, stand up. All right, 3 guys. Okay, hey. These 3 guys right here, it's probably who you need to speak to, because step 1 in real estate investing is go find the money. And if you don't have money, Aaron with Next to Mortgage right here this is a guy I use all the time. Like probably 90% of my investors use this guy. And so, kind of getting approved and getting everything ready to buy homes and rehab homes and stuff like that. When we talk about why Kansas City? For one, we had a Super Bowl champs. Hey, you don't know how many people I talk to, but like the Chiefs have put Kansas City like on the map. Taylor Swift, I don't give a shit if you like her or not. Like the news and just the media and the attention and like everything that's happening around Kansas City with stuff that's not even real estate related is so awesome that we got this kind of hype and we got this kind of vibe. And then like when people start really looking into Kansas City and the economy and the jobs and the affordability and the stuff that we offer here, this is why people are coming to Kansas City. So a couple of things that Kansas City offers that a lot of other places don't. One is a dual exit strategy, right? So for me, I buy a lot of homes, and all you agents out there who just raised your hand, if you sold any one of my homes, it is not up to the 10s. I'm not the Taj Mahal guy. Like when I fix my houses, I really fix them to rent. I'm not sitting here putting in new granite, putting in new countertops, putting in new cabinets. I'm not doing all this. Like, the homes I'm fixing is really to rent, and I feel like I do this good hybrid job of like, you know, I provide the new carpet, I provide the new flooring, I provide the new paint, I provide like enough new stuff to where I can sell these homes as well. And so, you know, in the market where the home might be selling for $280, I might sell my house for $260, but I only put 15 grand into my house, not 35, 40,000. And so the reason I do that is for this dual exit strategy. At the end of the night, you're gonna figure out, like, I'm a big buy and hold guy. Like, we got over 175 homes, and you gotta know, like, I'm buying 10 homes a month and I'm selling 10 homes a month. So it's like, I'm selling stuff out of my portfolio, I'm bringing stuff into the portfolio, and I just keep trading in and out. So like, you know, sometimes I own a couple hundred homes and sometimes I own 150 homes. I don't think I've ever been less than 150 homes, and I've never been more than 250 homes. I kind of just run in that range where I'm buying stuff. But I want you guys to know, like, you don't have to sit here, especially in this market today where there's no inventory and people are wanting to buy houses, and you don't have to sit here and like fix them all up to the tens to sell them. And so maybe something that we'll talk about a little bit later, KC is like this big tech place. You know, like once you had Facebook come in and you've got all these people, all these big companies, Google, Facebook, taking positions in Kansas City, man, like this place is like, you know, these big tech companies are selling San Francisco and they're coming to Kansas City because they can pay the Kansas City guy 150 grand where they was paying them 250 grand, 300,000 in San Francisco. So their cost is cheaper, their cost of the buildings and their offices are cheaper. Everything's just cheaper here in Kansas City. So the companies are moving here, and I just want you guys to know, like, these patterns, like these migration patterns of people that are moving to Kansas City and moving to the Midwest. And for us to sit here and live here and have access to this market, and as a smaller investor not take positions in this market, to me is just crazy. You know, like everybody's sitting here waiting for the rate to drop. I don't care about rate, like zero rate for me. You know, like a lot of my stuff is at 8.5%, 9% right now. And I'm still buying. And I've been buying this whole last year. While everybody's sitting on the sideline, I'm sitting here buying stuff. And I just never stop buying. I'm always buying. And so we'll talk about that a little bit later, but just know that you're in a market that the trend is going up, and in this affordability crisis that we have in the United States, people are coming to places like Kansas City. And I'll talk about that a little bit later. Population increase, low cost of living is a big thing for Kansas City. And I think the median price was $324,000 in Kansas City. The places people are leaving is like California, New York, Illinois, Pennsylvania. These are places where the average home is like 600,000. So when they come to Kansas City, they're like, oh my God, 300 grand? It's like half of what I'm paying. These guys are moving in here. 40,000 people moved in here to Kansas City and purchased properties from, you know, in the last year. We as investors have to know this and have to capitalize on this. And I'll talk about this a little bit later on kind of how I'm underwriting my properties. And I think you guys will be really surprised on how I'm doing things and what I'm doing. Man, I feel like if I share all my secrets with you guys, you guys will be my competitors all of a sudden. Like, I feel like maybe you guys you guys putting in offers too low, and you guys ain't getting the properties because you guys too conservative. Kansas City also has one of the best rent markets. You got this double-edged sword, like 324 grand. You know, you talk to a person from LA, they'll laugh at that and be like, sign me up, right? You talk about a guy from Kansas City and he's like, shit, I can't afford that. And so you're like, man, this is So you're in this conundrum where you got this double-edged sword of affordability, and at the end of the day, it creates a lot of renters. And so I truly believe the rent market is only gonna go up. And just from owning a management company, I mean, right now, we're increasing rents 3 to 5% on all of our lease renewals, and nobody's moving. They know they can't go out to market and get a better deal than where they're at right now. To me, the rent market here is strong, and we have an equity kicker in Kansas City where I was buying homes here back in 2003, 2004, and our equity was like 3%, 4%. You know, and now you're sitting at 9, 10. And if you're buying homes in areas that I'm gonna show you later, you're gonna be like, wow, over 10% equity. At the end of the day, even if I'm cash flow neutral on houses, if I can have my tenants pay for everything and I can get a 10% bump, even if I make 3%, 5%, 6%, whatever on the rent, and I get these cash flow bumps, and I don't think it's gonna go away. You know, and like, hey, everybody's talking about rates and all this stuff and like the rates dropping. I mean, at the end of the day, the rates might drop for a homeowner. If rates drop to 5.5, for us investors, that means 7.5. You know, and rates are at 8.5, 9 right now. So I'm just not a rate guy. I don't know. I just don't really deal with the rate. For me, I want good locations. I want good properties. I can fix the rate later. Like me and my wife always say, like, you marry the location, you date the rate. I could give two shits what the rate is right now. Like, it doesn't matter to me. I'll show you kind of how I underwrite my rentals and what I'm buying at the moment, like right now. Like, what I was underwriting 2 years ago was different. What I'm underwriting now today is what I'm gonna share with you guys tonight. Low entry, high cash flow is another reason why people are coming to Kansas City. I mean, I'm the bigger pockets guy, Rich Dad, Poor Dad, Fortune Builders, Norada, Jason Hartman, all these big education companies, they're charging $50,000 for these guys to get mentored. And then they mentor them, and then they're like, here, call Pat Grace. And I'm providing them properties, I'm managing their so I'm like, these are things like you guys can pick up and not even have to pay all this stuff and just be right here. Like, man, we're sitting on a gold mine in Kansas City, and my biggest fear is that everybody's kind of waiting to get into the market, and we're gonna talk about when you sit around and wait, kind of what happens. The big investment strategy I wanted to talk about tonight, and like, me and Dan was talking about doing some more of these, and like we can talk about flips, we can talk about, I mean, anything you guys want to talk about. I've been there, I've done that, I've done tons of them. But for tonight, I just want to talk about the buy and hold. After doing this for 20 years and being in the game, and just like when you talk to people who are just starting and they don't have this vision and they don't have somebody that's telling them that this is what can happen. This is my whole goal for tonight is, you know, like, I love wholesalers, right? Like, they're my best friends. I buy so much properties from wholesalers because they have them, and I ain't got time to look for them, and I'll give you 10 grand to bring me a good deal. And I don't care if I pay 10 grand, if I can go make 30, 40 on the back end. But like, the buy and hold is really the game changer when I look at everything that's going on in my life. You know, like every month I've got 170, 180,000 coming in rent every month. And like after expenses, you know, I might be at 120, 110 grand. And man, you don't know how comfortable that feels. And I'm talking a month. I'm not talking annual. Every month, after my expenses, I'm bringing in 100 grand a month on these 175 homes that I own. And I could be in Florida, I could be in Kansas City, I could sleep all day, every day. And this money is coming in. But 20 years. This isn't something that I just fell into. This isn't something that, it takes work, it takes time, it takes effort. And so we'll kind of talk about how I did it, what I did. You guys are here in Kansas City. There's certain things you guys could probably do different that maybe most investors can't do who invest in Kansas City. So we'll talk about that. I keep pretty much all my properties that I'm gonna portfolio, I keep them for 7 to 10 years. So, if I'm underwriting a property today that I'm purchasing and I'm cash flow neutral and I'm not making any money, I really don't give a shit if I'm not making any money today. Like, that's doesn't matter to me. As long as I'm not losing money today, to me, it can only get better. And I've always operated from that mindset. The other thing is, when you own these properties for so long, you gain so much equity. Like I got properties up north, 2-car garage, 3-bed, 2-bath, 2-car garage I bought for $65,000. Like these homes right now are selling for $280,000, $300,000. And I bought these homes so long ago, and just the magic, like you never think about that as an investor, because all you underwrite is the cash flow and today. You never underwrite what's gonna happen later. So I kind of want to bring that into what we're talking about tonight, so that when you guys are underwriting properties, like even if you're not making money, but you got a good solid property in a good solid area and you're breaking even at 8.5%, situation can only get better. I got 6 fundamentals that investors need to know. And like understanding, your market dynamics, what's going on in the market here, and I'll kind of I'll talk about that. For me, the big thing is location, and where you're buying your properties, especially on the buy and hold. It's really important. Financial analysis, kind of how, I analyze these properties. We'll talk about that. Property valuation is a big thing. Like, man, I get so many properties coming through to me every day, and man, I'm looking at these comps and I'm looking at this shit and I'm like, man, this is trash. Like, these guys are way off. Like, so, just because you have one house next to you that's sold for $280 doesn't mean your house is worth $280. It just doesn't work like that. Like appraisers have to bracket, they have to take a high, a low. So if you're just operating off the high, you're gonna lose. And when you're buy and hold guy, you can't lose like that. Like, so just kind of knowing, we'll talk about it a little bit later. Risk management's another thing, like how, I'm gonna kind of go into like how I deal with risk management and kind of what we do to manage like our risk, and then like legal and regulatory type things. I mean, you guys all know what's going on in Kansas City. I got this quick stat right now. I just pulled this from the KCRAR. All your real estate agents in here will know these statistics. But like 324,000 is for Kansas City. All of Kansas City is the median price for a house right now. And so when you think about that, you go to college and you graduate with a degree, and your wife has a degree, and you both are making $70,000 a year. You can't afford this shit, dude. And so it's like, this is where us as investors have a huge market for rentals. And so Kansas City people are priced out of Kansas City, but people moving into Kansas City are not priced out of Kansas City. Like, and so we're sitting here in this dichotomy of perfectness for me. Like, I'm like, man, I love this. I can continue to buy, and the affordability around the world for Kansas City is great. And then you got people in Kansas City kind of stuck. And even when people move here, when people move here from California, some of them are renting for 1 to 2 years. They're not, so this rent market is strong, and I think it's only gonna go up. I kind of broke it down, and I was looking at Clay County, Missouri, where I'm a big investor in Clay County. I live up in Clay. I probably own over 100 homes in Clay County. And we've got 9% increase in sales. And I'm talking about sale price, not in sales. While California and places around the country are selling homes for less, we're selling homes for 9% more this month than we did last January. So think about that. You know, that's a big number. We're not, like Kansas City is not decreasing in sale price. Now, we are selling less homes. We do have less homes on the market. Everybody has an inventory issue. What that allows us to do as an investor is provide homes on the market and attack this dual exit strategy that Kansas City provides, right? Hey, if I sit here and put 30, 40,000 into all my homes and I got new granite, new cabinets, all this new shit in all my homes, at the end of the day, I got one exit strategy. I gotta sell it. You almost just kind of diluted what Kansas City brings to the table, which is the dual exit strategy. If you just, for me, I'm not doing that. I'm not sitting here putting in granite, putting in new, I'm painting my cabinets, I'm glazing my countertops, I'm glazing the backsplashes, I'm putting in new carpet, I'm putting in new paint, I'm giving it the new feel, but I'm not sitting here dumping all kind of money into these projects, and then I put them on MLS, and I try and sell it to the homeowner, right? The homeowner is gonna give me the most money for it. And if I don't catch a homeowner buyer within 60 days, I'll turn it over to my management company, we'll rent it, and I'll portfolio the property, but I've only in that property for 15 grand. I'm not sitting here fixing my homes to the tens, Taj Mahal. You know, I'm not Taj Mahal in these houses right now. You don't have to. Like, there's no inventory, there's no competition. If you guys just went to MLS, and if you got a project right now, and you just went to MLS and just looked at, and go 0 to 30 days active properties, and just pull up the active properties in Raytown, or the active properties in Independence, or up north, you're looking at 8 to 10 properties. That's your competition right now. Like, you don't have to sit here and fix them to the tens. And I don't also ask the 10 price. You know, if those nice homes are selling for 280, shit, I'll ask 260, 255. And if I can't sell them, I just turn around and rent them, and I'm not sitting here stuck into this Kansas City offers this dual exit strategy that not too many states can give you. And that is so powerful. And with Clay County giving you 9% from last year on the price, right? So all the homes last year, this year, we're selling them for 9% more. You got places negative, they're losing money. Jackson County, when I look at Jackson County, 3.9% only. And I feel like Jackson County is skewed. So I must say this, like, the inner city in Jackson County is also mixed in with Blue Springs, Lee Summit, Raytown, and Independence, which are big places that I invest. I just don't invest in the inner city of Kansas City. When I moved to Kansas City and I was first getting started, for you new investors, that might be a great place to start because the properties are cheap, things are cheap, and this and that. But long term, from owning a management company, you don't want to sit here and manage these assets for long term. They're tough, you know, the thievery, the burglary, there's all the stuff that's going on, the non-payment of rent. And so for me, the inner city is like a no zone for me. I'm in Blue Springs, Lee Summit, Independence, Raytown, North Kansas City, Smithville, Kearney, and I just kind of stay on the Missouri side on all my investing. And if you look at Johnson County and you pull up the stats on Johnson County, their properties only went up 3%. So you don't even have that much of an equity kicker in Johnson County. They only went up 3.9%, and their taxes are higher. So for me, I stay on the Missouri side, and I just kind of focus on places that I can buy homes that I know I have a dual exit strategy and that I can rent, I can sell. Jackson County was 7%. So Jackson County you got a 7% appreciation from last year. Clay County, you got a 9% appreciation from last year. Johnson County, you got a 3% appreciation for last year. So when you're, I'm not the smartest guy in the room, but for me, I like to go with the trends, and I like to just follow the numbers, and so I want to buy property in places that are going up the most in value. I know I have a strong rent market, and people are moving into Missouri. They're not necessarily moving into Kansas, but they are moving into Missouri. And besides the Midwest, the only other place like more powerful than the Midwest is the South, right? Like Texas, Florida. People are moving to those places in droves. I think like they said, 5 million people have left LA, New York, Chicago. And you know where they're going? They're going to Texas, South Carolina, North Carolina, and the Midwest, Kansas City. They're coming. Kansas City is the number 15 spot in the United States where people are moving to. So we have a great opportunity here, and the smart money is not sitting on the sideline waiting for the rate to drop, right? Like the smart money is buying the homes right now, owning the homes, and then we'll fix the rate later. Fix it later, right? If you think you're gonna come into this market when rates drop, oh my God, now you're gonna be sitting here with multiple offers, highest and best, paying 10 grand over ask, just all the shit you don't wanna deal with. Like, just take positions in the property now and fix it later, even if you're cash flow neutral and you're not making money. So I'll tell you kind of how I underwrite my buy and holds today in this market, okay? I can't sit here and underwrite my buy and holds and make $500 a month. You won't get shit. There's nothing out there in the areas that I'm buying. You're not gonna find it. And so if you do, it's a diamond in the rough, it's a one-off situation, you buy it, whatever, but you're not gonna find it in bulk. What I need bulk, I need volume. And so for me, I underwrite my all-in position at 8%, all right, on the payment, and interest only. I'm not doing amortized, all my stuff's line of credit. And so I'm doing 8% interest only on the payment. I subtract 25% for expenses, and that includes like the management fee, that includes my taxes, that includes my insurance. I just kind of reduce 25% from that. On a $200,000 house, which is kind of where I play. I play in that 200 to 250 market. I'm doing, on a $200,000 house, your payment's $1,300. And I might get $1,800 to $1,900 a month in rent. On $1,800 rent, you're getting $21,000 a month. Minus the 25%, which is like $5,400, that leaves you $16,000. At $1,300 times 12, you're at 15 grand. And so I'm not making a lot of money on the cash flow as I buy these homes right now, but I'm still buying them, and I'm buying 5 to 10 of them a month like this. I'm not scared. I'm continue to buy, and we'll see what happens. I might be on this stage 2 years from now. I'm probably gonna tell you guys, you should have listened to me. I was telling you, the rents are gonna go up and the values are gonna go up. I can't see things going down over here. We're not like California. We're not like New York. We don't experience the high ups and we don't experience the low lows. Everything here is kind of neutral. And so I don't feel like anything that's happening in Missouri is out of pocket. And if I'm in this house for 200 grand and the house is worth 250, for me, that's kind of where I'm thinking as a long-term investor. I don't know how to explain this until you live it but I can just tell it to you. But like, these homes that I'm buying right now up north and in Blue Springs for 180, 190,000, and they're all messed up. Those same homes I was buying 10 years ago for 65 grand, 75,000. And so think 10 years from now, what's gonna happen and where we're gonna be and how things are gonna happen, and just these same homes. And you look at the cost of construction and the cost of everything. I mean, you can't even buy a brand new house right now for, The median is 324. You can't even buy a brand new house for 324. Like if you're a 324 guy, you're buying one of my flips. You can't buy a brand new construction house for that right now. You can't. And so I don't believe that, I feel like I'm in a safe place when I underwrite my properties like this. Right now, I'm underwriting cash flow neutral. I'm not even looking for cash flow when I underwrite my houses. I can't. You know, at 8%, I can't underwrite. And even if rates drop, say rates drop and I can get 7%, or I can get 6.5%, which I think is gonna be probably your best investor rate when rates drop. I don't think you're gonna get 5s. I don't think you're gonna get 4s. I think the primary rate for primary homes might drop to a 5, and I feel like investor rates will be 6.5 to 7. If I underwrite all my properties at 8, 8.5 right now, if I can lock them in at 7, 6.5, I'll just have increased. But what I'm banking on more is rent increase and appreciation increase. And I think we're gonna have that here. Kansas City is always like 3 to 4 years behind all your, you know, your Los Angeles and your Californias and your New Yorks. I'm not too worried about the cash flow at the current situation. And that's just what I'm doing. I might be wrong, I might be right, I don't know. I've been right a lot, but this is kind of how we're doing it. I told you guys, marry the house, marry the location, date the rate, right? The rate to me is irrelevant at this point. And you know what's gonna happen? There's gonna be a lot of guys sitting in this room who are sitting here like, hey, I'm gonna wait for the rate to drop. And when you wait for the rate to drop, you're gonna be dealing with multiple offers, highest and best. You're gonna pay more for the property. And then for me, it's just fixing a rate that I already own. It's easy, simple. Like I don't have to sit here and do that. And I can bulk up all my properties. I can put 25 homes into one commercial loan and get one rate at maybe a 7 or a 6.5 or a 7. And so that's kind of what I'm thinking and what I'm doing. So for me, it's just about collecting properties right now as nobody's buying, and I can get into these good deals in this market that has a trend where people are moving in, affordability is low, rent is high. Like, this is the perfect setup for us who are sitting here in this room right now. Let's talk about property valuation. This is probably, to me, the most important thing, how you evaluate your properties. I run into this all the time. I get deals from wholesalers and whatever, and they're using the high comp, they're using the one comp, you know, like, hey, this house sold for 280, this house is 280. They don't understand that the high comp, the low comp, your appraiser's gonna come in somewhere in the middle. He's not gonna give you that number. And so the valuation on how you underwrite properties, this is a little kind of golden nugget for the new investors and for people in here. Don't ever just think, oh, the house next to me sold for 280, so my house is 280. That's not how it works. There's a median that appraisers have to hit. They're not gonna give you the high, and they're not gonna give you the low. They're gonna give you the middle. Underwriting at the middle is what you need to learn. And how you do that is, you know, like bed, bath, garage is a given, right? Where I see a lot of my new investors making mistakes is with square footage. You know, they're not underwriting the square footage amount right. And you got to look at above level square footage and below level square footage. And this makes a huge difference on your appraisal. Knowing that, I want you guys to just take that back. Like, this is one of those things I want you guys to know. And then the second thing is on appraisals is basements in Kansas City. Like, if your house is on a slab or a crawl, then comp slabs and crawls. You can't sit here and comp full basements. It's just totally different. If you got a finished basement, then comp finished basements. That's the two biggest mistakes that I see my novice investors making when it comes to property valuation. They sit here and like, oh, the neighbor sold the house for this, or my house is, you know, and then you look at the house and you're like, man, that house is 1,400 square foot. Your house is 1,000 square foot. It's not gonna happen on the appraisal. And if you don't have the right valuation number going into a deal, your whole deal is screwed. All your numbers are inaccurate. So knowing this property valuation is, to me, is like one of the most important parts, and pulling comps and being able to do this. And this goes back to like becoming an agent. Like if you're an investor and you're not a real estate agent, oh my God, like what are you doing? Like to me, that's the biggest mistake you can make. Like you have to have access to the market. You have to have access to the data. You have to have access to comps. You have to have access to putting in your own offers. If a deal comes through and you're not an agent, your realtor texts you right now, you're sitting in this meeting. He's like, hey, I got this house. You go home, you check it. You're like, yeah, this is good. He sends you the contract tomorrow. You sign the contract, this and that. By that time, I already bought the house. My guys are already putting in the offers. We haven't even looked at them. And we're putting in offers on houses just blind. You have to have access to the market, and you have to have access to comparables. On a flip, so I sell a lot of homes too. On a flip side, my underwrite is real simple. Real simple. I do ARV minus the rehab, minus the taxes and insurance, and I minus about 5% miscellaneous. And I put my offer in where I can make 10 to 12% return on the money. I'm not trying to make 15%. I'm not trying to make 20%. I feel like you'll get priced out and you won't win. That's just how, just from putting in tons of offers, that's just kind of where I'm at right now. At that point, for me, I can look and I'll do 100 projects this year, and my average rehab cost might be 35 grand. So I always use 35,000. And some houses spend more, some houses I'll spend less. But for me, at the end of the day, it doesn't matter. On the new investors that are here and you're only doing one project, you probably got to tighten up that number and be really careful on your rehab number. That's kind of how I'm valuating these properties right now. When it comes to risk management, let me touch on this real quick, how I kind of alleviate my risk and in the market and what I'm doing. For one, you gotta have software. You can't sit here and, if you got one property or whatever, you can do shit on a spreadsheet. But if you're doing, 5 to 6 homes and you gotta have software. And for me, I use AppFolio. AppFolio is a tight software that I've used for years. Just helps me with the management side of things. To me, it's the best software out there. I use AppFolio. On the buy and hold, the tenant screening is the most important part, right? And for me, on tenant screening, I want to make sure that all my tenants have at least 3 to 3.5% net. So when they give me their pay stubs, I'm not looking at gross income, I'm looking at net income. And so if rent's $1,000, I want to see that you're making $3,500 net. After you pay your child support, after you pay your judgments, after you pay your 401k, after you pay your whatever, like net, I want to see 3 to 3.5%. Here's a golden nugget. The best renters have the longest job history. I don't know, I just from renting properties for so long, if you run into a guy that's been in the job for 15 years and he qualifies, like rent to that guy. Like that guy is a good tenant. Like job history and tenancy for me have been a strong correlation. And I don't know if you guys know, but that's probably another takeaway you guys can take from tonight real quick. We pulled a credit, we pulled a criminal. I don't really base my decisions on credit per se. We're not in California, we're not in New York where you got 700 credit score renters walking around Kansas City. Like it just doesn't happen. Your renters are gonna come in with 500, 550, and at this point you gotta look at the report. If you got a payday loan and you got credit card and you got T-Mobile not getting paid and you got shit like that not getting paid, like that's a red flag for me. So like for me, I always kind of just look at the credit report on why their credit score is 550. Now, if you're dealing with a 400 credit score renter, you might have a lot of medical collections. For me, I don't base my decisions off of medical collections. Stuff can happen to people and you can't afford the medical bills and things will happen. So I don't really put too much basis on medical, but other things I look at, credit cards, phone, gas, electric, if they can't turn on utilities. The other big thing I can tell you, when you guys live here, don't, manage your own home, especially if you have like 5 homes or less or whatever, just manage your own houses. Learn your tenants, and people will, what tenants love is that personal relationship with the owner. When you get cool with your tenants, they'll pay you, they'll take care of you, you take care of them, you kind of develop a friendship, whatever. Just, manage your own houses. Like, I think for me and my wife, owning the management company, we've always kind of managed our own houses, and we manage for other people as well. But, just developing a relationship with your tenants goes a long way. And so if you're here in Kansas City, owning property in Kansas City, just manage your own stuff. It doesn't take, after 1 or 2 properties, you kind of set up a basis and a guideline of how things happen. You already have your plumbers, you already have your electricians, you already have your HVAC guys, your go-to guys for maintenance, you're maybe a handyman. And so it's real easy to manage your own properties. That's another thing for risk management that I would do. One thing I'll do too is I only do labor-only bids. I never do labor and material bids. Never, ever. So all my contractors is labor only, and I pay for all the material. And the reason I pay for all the material is so like now, today, I can go to Sherwin-Williams and be like, hey, last year I bought $700,000 in paint. Let's talk. Like, I need a discount. So my basis is gonna be a lot lower than your basis, simply because I control the material. If you give labor and material to the contractor, now the contractor is gaining all the HVAC. My guy Dave Garrett sitting right here. They're getting all that credit, and you got nothing. You're the guy who owns all the properties, and you got nothing to negotiate. So like now I can go to Goodman, I can go to Lennox, I can go to all these HVAC companies and say, hey, I bought $1 million worth of equipment last year. How are you gonna work me out? What are we gonna do? And this is powerful stuff. Even if you can save 10%, 15%. Home Depot gives me 15% off of everything I buy, just because I control my material costs. It makes putting in offers, it makes owning properties, it makes buying so much easier when you control that, and then you have the authority to negotiate off of the volume that you're doing. That is another thing that for risk management, and what makes maybe I can pay a little more for properties because I know I pay a little less in material. You guys can't do that. This is a powerful situation. Another thing with risk management, I really only stick with 3 bedrooms. I might dive into a 2-bedroom here and there. I never do 1-bedrooms. I always stick with 3-bedroom homes. And here's another golden nugget for you guys. How many shitty neighborhoods you know in Kansas City where all the neighbors have 2-car garage? Tell me a neighborhood where all your neighbors have 2-car garage, and that's a shitty neighborhood. It's not there. Hey, real simple underwrite, buy the 2-car garage neighborhoods, right? Hey, real simple. All my portfolio, all my houses that I portfolio have 2-car garage. You could be in Ruskin, and no, Ruskin, you got no garage, you got 1-car garage, you got slab, you got no slab. But in Ruskin, you got whole neighborhoods with 2-car garage, and those neighborhoods are bringing way more money and way more rent than the houses that have 1-car garage. So for me, a real simple underwrite is 2-car garage. That's a real simple, like, golden nugget, something I wanted to give to you guys so like you guys can figure out like this is where you want to be. Like if you're going to buy and hold, you want to be in neighborhoods and you want to be in areas where people are coming, and that's where they're coming. They're moving from Kansas City to Staley to wrestle. They're moving from Kansas City to Blue Springs to play football. They're moving from these places to go, and you know what they want? They want the 2-car garage. I'm telling you right now that 1,500 square foot, 3-bed, 2-bath with a small finished basement, that $250,000, $280,000 ARV, if you can buy it for 200 grand right now, buy it. There's few of them on the market right now. And so and the other thing for risk management that I do, like I said earlier, no Taj Mahal, right? I'm not fixing my homes to the tens until I want to flip it. When I know I want to sell it, then I'll come in and, but some of these homes I've owned for 15 years. As the tenants move out, now I'm coming in, putting in the granite, the new countertops, the new lights, the new mirrors, the new vanities, the new bathtubs, putting in everything. I might spend 30 grand and I owe $0 on the house, and now I can sell this house for $280,000, and I'm bringing home $280,000 minus 30 grand each house. So that's kind of how I've done things. While I'm in this buy and hold and this dual exit strategy, I'm not fixing my homes to the tens like that. Let's talk about legal, regulatory considerations. My first thing right there is, I said it earlier, I kind of gave up on going to these meetings and going to all this stuff with the Mayor Lucas and Mari and all these groups. Like, hey, it's like, man, hey, at the end of the day, they're going to do what they're going to do. There's nothing we can do to stop them, right? So the new thing is what? Section 8, right? What are they saying? We got to accept Section 8. Huh? Yeah, well, now we got to accept. You know what I do? I just don't pay for your utilities across the board. My whole company, we don't pay utilities. If you just don't pay utilities, you eliminate pretty much all of Section 8. Section 8 strength, they want to say, oh, we give this voucher and we'll pay you $1,700, but you have to pay the utilities. Well, across the board, I just don't pay utilities. So that alleviates Section 8 for me. I could give two shits about what Mayor Lucas says or does or the rules he created. And if you really look at what he did and the law that they just put passed or whatever, it doesn't say we have to accept. We just have to screen, right? So we don't have to accept. We don't. It's really nonsense. It's just noise at the end of the day. And you know what we have in Kansas City though? I'm still evicting people in 30 to 60 days. That's strong, right? You talk to a guy from Cali, you talk to a guy from San Francisco, they're stuck. Hey, they got rent control. They can't even raise their rents. I got some rent, 3 to 5%, and I'm looking at some rents, I'm raising them $150 to $200 right now. And I got no rent control. I can evict people in 30 to 60 days. I mean, so to me, Kansas City is still a strong, this is a landlord-friendly state. Even though you have this guy over here sitting here doing all this, really, just let him make his noise, let him make it, whatever. He feels popular, whatever he's trying to do, that's fine. He can do all that. But it doesn't affect me at all. I haven't been affected at all by what that guy is doing. And so I just said, you know what? I'm going to stop going to the meetings. I don't even want to know. Just tell me what happens and I'll figure it out later. So now I know, Section 8, blah, blah. You know what? We don't pay utilities. Sorry, across the board. We just don't pay. So if you don't pay utilities, you know what these guys are doing? They're coming to my house up north on an $1,800 house, and they think they got an $1,800 voucher because the utilities are included. And when I don't pay utilities, they have a $1,200 voucher. And I can decline them, because it's not against the law, and the law that they just provided is not against the law to do that. And so we're good. I don't have any problems with what that guy is doing. And to me, Kansas City is one of the most, I got investors in San Francisco, they can't even raise the rent. I got investors in LA who take a year to evict people. We don't have that problem here. So we're sitting really good on the regulatory side of things. And I feel like with everything we have, affordability is another big thing that we have that a lot of places don't have. And the fact that we're bringing in jobs, we're in Northland right now. I don't know if you guys heard about this project that's going on off of 152. I don't know if you heard about this project that's going on in Platte City. Oh my God, like, I feel like the Northland is the place to be. Like, if you can take positions in the Northland right now, and you can hold on to them for 5 to 7 years, I guarantee you winners. Like, this is what I'm doing. This is what I feel at the bottom of my heart that I think is gonna happen. I'm gonna kind of tie this thing up. I know I've been too long. The takeaways I want you guys to take is really, for me, in my head, the most important things that my new investors struggle with is, for one, pulling comps. And when you pull your comps, make sure you have square footage and make sure you have the same basement situation. So if you have a crawl, comp crawls. If you have a finished basement, comp finished basements. If you're buying an unfinished basement and you want to finish it, comp the unfinished basement and then comp the finished basement and figure it out. But that's a golden nugget I want you guys to take away. The second one is the 2-car garage, underwrite. Real simple. I tell all my out-of-state investors, you want a good house? Make sure all your neighbors got 2-car garage. Real simple. Manage your own properties, get a software, get your real estate license. I'm gonna do a shameless plug right now, but my wife's in here, United Real Estate, will pay you 100% of everything you buy. You know what that means? When you're underwriting property, you'll make 100% of anything you buy, anything you sell. All we charge is $550 a file. If you're sitting here working for a company that's charging you more than $550 a file, call us, we'll get you connected. But you have to be an agent. You have to have access to the market. You have to have access to controlling your own offers. You have to have access to controlling your own information. Like, not having your license, to me, is like almost negligent. You're depending on other people for your business, and I don't like doing that. Like, I want to be able to, if I see a house, I want to be able to pull it up, underwrite it, pull the comps, do what I need to do, figure it out, put the offer in, and get it done all within 30 minutes. I can get it done. And so I want you guys to be able to do that. Hey, the other thing is, real quick too, pay your taxes. Okay? No, I mean, this is, hey, you guys laughing, but this is one of the biggest things that I run into, the biggest problems I run into with my investors. For me and my wife, like, we pay our taxes depending on our debt to income ratio. So get strategic, get a mortgage guy. Like, I know this year I can pay less tax because I sold less homes. Last year, I sold the least amount of homes I've ever sold in probably 15 years last year because of the rates. And I'm not holding on to a lot of debt, and so I can pay less tax. So it's a strategic thing that you have to do, but you want to make sure you pay your taxes to where you're at like a 30% debt to income ratio. This is huge. I don't know if you guys know this old man, Bernie Richter with North Oak Investment, but man, this guy gave me this nugget when I was 22, 23 years old. He was like, pay your taxes, and that way I can go finance and I can go borrow what I need to do to get into my projects. That's huge, right? Hey, you don't want to be stuck to the cash you have. Paying taxes is huge. And when you pay taxes, for me, it makes me feel like I gotta go find some deals. Like, I just paid, last year I paid almost $800,000 in taxes. I need to go find deals to figure out and to make it worth it. Like, I have to go figure it out. That's a big golden nugget for me to tell you guys, is like, pay taxes. You're only good as the cash you can get. And the bank's got all the cash. They're willing to give it to you. You just got to qualify. So pay your taxes to make you qualify, and it'll change your life. Later on in life, you may pay less tax, but for now, pay your tax. I'm gonna end on this slide. We've got some mentorships available. We've got some consulting available. I'm not gonna touch too much on it. The mentorships, for me, is totally different. I ain't got no education. I ain't got no books. We don't do any of that. We on the streets. Like, we're buying stuff. We're doing it. Like, but you have to qualify. I have to know you can buy stuff. You can qualify. I can work with you guys on that. Consulting, you know, I charge $150 an hour. We can talk. I book out 1 hour at a time. We can talk about whatever you guys want. If you guys need help with whatever, 1031, IRA, 401k, life insurance, flipping a house, whatever it is, we can talk about it. You guys can hit me up. Thank you, Dan, for bringing all this to us. And I hope you guys learned something and I hope you guys just start keeping some of these properties and really start generating a buy and hold portfolio. I feel like everybody wants to flip and everybody wants to wholesale. And, you know, at the end of the day, like, your true wealth is going to come from the assets that you own. And buying these assets today, I'm telling you, 15, 20 years from now, we're going to be sitting on this stage like, man, can you believe I bought this home for 250 grand? And, you know, the home's going to be worth 450 grand. And we're going to be sitting here talking about it. Like, hope you guys kind of develop this, put this buy and hold strategy into your thoughts and make it happen. All right, guys. Thank you, guys. If you guys got any questions, how you want to do it?
Yeah, we can take, you know, another 10 minutes of questions or scenarios if you guys have any questions for Pat. I mean, you know, he's here right now for free. So, go ahead.
Okay, so you talk about how much you buy a property in bulk. So how is that possible? Is that cash flow or does it kind of loan?
Okay. Okay, so what she asked was, I talked about me buying properties in bulk. How that has happened is because starting off, it's hard to do it like that. You know, I bought one house, I bought two houses turned into four houses turned into eight houses turned into 12. And then before you know it, you can get lines of credit. So for me, I have a lot of lines of credit on like commercial buildings I own, apartment buildings I own. I've got like 75 homes on a line of credit. I've got another 75 homes on a line of credit. And so I've got lines that I can just draw from where I can put in my offers cash, I can buy my offers cash, I can rehab my homes cash, just using basically the equity that I have from the properties that I've owned for so long. But you have to start somewhere. You know, like I was sitting in the chair where you guys are and I didn't have anything. We had to start with one. You just got to start it. You know, you got to start it and you got to work it. You got to manage it. You got to run it. You got to do everything yourself. Don't trust anybody to do shit for you. Just do everything yourself.
So, what would your advice be with somebody that's trying to get their first property from, I say, like, I could say, if I wanted to go today, tomorrow, try to build a property, to buy or but if you're credit bad, no job, how would you go about that?
Oh, that's a good question.
I can.
So, okay, go ahead.
Yeah, I mean, the answer to that is hard money loans. You know, if you got bad credit and stuff, I mean, you can overcome that with a really good deal. You know, you can go to somebody like Rex Rodenbaugh, Casey Investor, or Bernie Richter, or there's a bunch of these guys out there, but like they are lending on the asset, you know. So if you buy it cheap enough, like a lot of them, you know, if you're in it all in at 70% of the ARV or what it's worth, so say, you know, it's a $200,000 house, and if you're all into it for $140,000 or less, they'll finance 100% of that purchase and rehab. So you can get into one of those houses for as little as, you know, $5,000, $10,000, $15,000, you know, of cash. You can leverage that much to get into that deal with no credit, you know, or any documents at all, and you can do that deal. And then once you own the house, have the equity, then you can refinance it out with a local bank or you know, a broker like Aaron or something like that.
Or you talk like, you know, like a lot of my investors too, like I got a lady in Hawaii right now, same situation, right? She ain't got no money, but she got the time and she can do everything. And she got a family member who has the money. So you're gonna have to parlay two things. You're gonna have to get the rehab loan, but then any rehab guy is gonna want like you said, 10% down, 15% down, 20% down. And that's where your partner would come in, bring in the money, so that you can kind of truly get a 100% deal. Like there's no 100% financing right now for investors. So you got to think outside the box, and you got to bring in people who might have the 15, 20 grand, but just don't have the time, and you give them a return on their 15, 20 grand and go from there. But it is hard. I mean, it is hard. I'm not going to say it's not.
Real quick. Yeah, so like what I did, when I first started flipping houses, I actually partnered with Austin, who's my business partner now. But see, I was working full-time, 50 hours a week in my job, and I had money. And so I partnered with him 50-50. He got into all these deals, $0 out of pocket, but he was leveraging his time and ability to manage these projects. And he was making half the upside on all these deals because I had the money, he had the time, we came together. And himself, all the first dozen flips he did, he had no money in any of these deals at all, but he was collecting these houses and these, upsides on these flips with me.
Yeah. If you find the deals, people will give you the money. If you can find the good deals, people will give it to you, so I would just start there. Anybody else, any questions on anything?
Go ahead, Jacob.
Why'd you start the brokerage, and how has that impacted your portfolio?
He said, why did we start the brokerage and how did that affect everything we're doing now? And really, this was more a request from my wife, who said, I want to start a brokerage. And so, I mean, I could tell you this. I give it to her. Like, I feel like she's babysitting 350 adults. Dude, it's like, hey, I'm sitting in bed with her and I hear the phone call and it's like, how do I write a contract? And I'm like, oh my God, there's a YouTube video online to just write the contract. Like, I got zero patience for that, but my wife wanted to provide something out there, and we ran into Dan Duffy, who owns, all the Uniteds, and he was coming out with this 100% model that we thought would be completely disruptive, that was still full service. So it's not like you're 100% and you don't have a broker, like you don't have software, you don't have technology, like we have everything. When I kind of ran into that model, I was like, that seems pretty smart to me. I think we can blow that up. That's kind of what we did. And the way it's affected my business has been awesome. Like, I got 350 agents in Kansas City right now that whenever a deal comes up, they're bringing it to me, and like, I mean, it's like, to me, it's like a great thing. Like, I don't know. I feel like it's the best game in town. I just wish more people would jump on it. And, at United, we're like super investor friendly. Like probably 100 of our agents are investors. Like we all do our own stuff. We buy and sell our own stuff. We don't have to go to meetings. We don't have to do, we don't have to sit on a board. We don't have to do anything. Like just close deals, just closing deals and not paying so much commission to somebody else. That was just something kind of we wanted to bring to the market. And we ran into a guy who now the number 5 real estate company in the nation. And when we ran into him, we was his number 1 franchise. We were talking at the Staley Farms pool about this thing. And I was like, hey, when you're ready, I'll buy Kansas and Missouri. And I bought it and it turned into this. And we didn't know it was going to turn into this, but it just turned into something good. We just didn't know. Any other questions?
Where are you finding the homes at? What's the best place you're finding right now?
Yeah, so the question is, where am I finding the homes at? And if I told you that, I'd have to kill you. Hey, Troy, that's the secret sauce, dude. Like, if I tell you that, like nobody will come to me ever again. No, no, but I feel like a lot of almost all my deals are coming either off market, from wholesalers. I'm not really buying anything really on MLS. So like everything that's coming to me right now is just coming to me from, and if you guys ain't on Kansas City Real Estate Investment Group on Facebook, like that's my group. Like I own that group and I get a lot of shit through that group, dude. That is, to me, that like I get a lot of stuff through my group. And because I'm the admin of it, I can hit like keywords like for sale. And so anything that says for sale, It like hits me. There's so much deals going through that group. I get a lot of stuff through Kansas City Real Estate Investment Group. If you're not on that group, join it now. That's the largest real estate investment group in Kansas City. And there's a lot of things getting traded through that group, but mostly wholesalers trying like off-market type stuff. You know, like for me, like I'll put in offers on MLS and like maybe I gotta put in 10 offers, I might get one. You know, so I'm still putting in offers in on MLS. I'm getting most of my stuff from wholesalers. People know when you don't give a shit about a wholesale fee, like I don't care. I don't care if the guy's making 20 grand. I don't give a shit. As long as the number works for me, I could care less what the guy's making. And once wholesalers know that you don't care and you'll close the deal, they'll bring you everything and they'll close with you even though they may have another offer that's 5 grand over because they don't know that guy. And he's got a financed offer or whatever. So any wholesaler in the crowd, call me before you call Dan.
Call me first.
Any other question? Hey, you guys can ask anything.
Yeah.
All right, so first of all, we've got a lot of agents in the room, right? So first of all, if you're not with United, you're just fucking stupid. But Marty is one of the best brokers in the world. And it's amazing what we get to meet. But before the agents in the room, representing investors, they have a lot of, you guys are investors, they have a lot of ideas of what's important. If they're helping investors, what would you say the top 3 things you want them to focus on, outside of what they want to focus on, is the most important on a deal?
So the question was, what's the top 3 things that investors should focus on?
So as agents, we've got a lot of strong-minded investors, right? And they're telling us what they want.
Right.
But they're not always dialed in the Kansas City market.
Right. So I feel like for me, I get a lot of investors that call me and they're like, I heard I can buy a property for $80,000. And I'm like, you can, but not with me. Like, that is not my, you know, like, so for me, it's like maybe educating them on certain areas, certain neighborhoods would probably be one thing that I do a lot. Because I do get that a lot. Like, almost everybody is coming in because they think they can, you know, and they want this inner city, you know, they're thinking about that. And just from being there for so long, and I'm not saying the inner city is bad, like it's changed so much since, you know, when I first started. And like, man, there's a lot of good inner city flips that you could do right now, but inner city holds, shit, I wouldn't, for me, I wouldn't do that. So educating them on that. The other big thing is just educating them on, right now, when you're talking to your investors, is really educating them on the fact that they might be cash flow neutral right now. You know, like, I mean, I'm buying cash flow neutral right now. And so my investors that think they're coming in here and they're gonna make $300 a month, $500 a month in the good, in Blue Springs, Lee Summit, North Kansas City, Independence, 2-car garage, you're not gonna make that. But that's the assets that you wanna own. Like that, those are the long-term assets that if you just give it some time, they'll come. You know, it'll, like the money will come, the rents will come, like, and I can fix the rate later so I can make $200-300 a month. But for now, just kind of selling them on the fact that you're gonna be cash flow neutral right now because the rates are so high. Another big conversation that I'm having with a lot of my investors. The other thing is hard to come by too though, but like you got a lot of 1031 stuff coming, you know, into Kansas City. Like you got a lot of people selling San Francisco, selling California, selling these, you know, and they're coming in with millions of dollars and they're on 1031s and they have to place this money and they have to identify within 45 days and they have to place the money within 6 months. When I get that, man, it kind of like opens up so much stuff for me. You know, like, man, I'm selling Taco Bells. And to a San Francisco guy, if they can make a 5 on a Taco Bell and invest $4 million, they're in a good year. We sold a Sherwin-Williams paint company. Just, these guys are coming in like these 1031s. So if you guys, like as agents, like start looking for these big 1031s that are coming in. These guys are selling like $2 million, $3 million properties. If you can show them a 4 cap or a 5 cap, they'll buy it in Kansas City. And you can make a 2-3% rip on $4 million. What's up, bro?
Yeah, so speaking of California money, we have a bunch of lending opportunities where we're giving investors like 12% returns. We've had some California investors and they love these returns. How do you connect with lenders out of state and private money lenders?
Private money lenders out of state? Oh, you might want to talk on. I honestly don't deal with a lot of private money lenders out of state. Like I haven't. So what you're saying is you're collecting the money, you're giving a return, and then you guys are kind of financing the projects. I've only done that like with my own money. I haven't done that with other people's money, or I haven't tried to attract other people's money. I wouldn't know how to speak to that because that's something I've never done. I do loan money for rehab projects, but I only loan that money to my agents. Like if you're not an agent of United, I'm not gonna loan you my money. Like I want my agents to not only sell homes, but to learn how to invest. Hey, these agents are the ones that's coming in with the best deals. And I'm like, why are you selling this? Buy it yourself. Let's knock this thing out. And so I'm teaching my agents. This is something that comes with, like, Keller Williams, all these other places, EXP, they ain't doing all this. They don't even have the wherewithal to do it. They're not even thinking about it. And so when you're laying this down for your agents and you're sitting here showing your agents, oh, I can make 30 grand a house and I can sell 3 homes a year and may bring in another $100,000 a year. There's a value add for the agent. But I haven't been looking for capital like that. So I don't know how to answer that. You might know.
Yeah. I mean, one strategy, you know, and I haven't done it, but I've talked to a lot of guys at meetups that I've gone to, you know, like paid events and stuff. One thing you can do to find investors for that or for, you know, related to like multifamily or living is go to like out-of-state conventions for like professionals. Like go to the doctor convention or the lawyer convention somewhere, you know, or like these are the guys, because like if you go to a real estate meetup somewhere, like everyone at a real estate meetup is using all the money they got. You know, they're buying stuff. But if you go to an event that's not real estate people, but it's people that have income, they have money, whether it's business owners or working professionals, you know, and just sit there and don't even like attend any of stuff, just hobnob and meet these guys, you know, likely you're going to build relationships from that and then be able to work deals with those folks.
Another thing too, like take the success stories that you guys have and market them. Like, put them out there, like on what you guys have done with other people's money. And I feel like that'll attract more capital. I just haven't been in that space where I've tried to attract capital. I try and stay away from other people's money. When I use other people's money, now I feel like I owe something to them. Or I don't know. I try not to do that. Like the only business partners I have is really me, my wife, and my banks. And I run this whole operation off of those 3 relationships. It's all banks, which give me the cheapest money, and my wife, who's even more cheap money, because she works for sex. No. Sure. Yeah, I'm in big trouble now. No. I work for sex. It's different. Yeah, it's opposite. Finding a wife or a woman, somebody, a girlfriend, whatever, that understands real estate and knows how to reconcile some books and knows how to handle some businesses and knows how to hire and fire and knows how to, there's just so many things that I can't, like, and my wife handles that has been like a godsend for me because I don't have to deal with it. You know, like all I have to focus on is really finding, buying, selling deals. I never have to worry about QuickBooks. I never have to worry about any of that. Like, it's not my role. You know, like we got certain roles that she handles all that. I don't do any of that. And so all I'm focused on is just finding new properties, finding new deals, finding stuff, and then finding the people to buy them. You know, like just the customers around the world. And you got a world, you got a world, not only Kansas City, you got a world that you can sell to. Hey, but I can tell you this, a lot of the homes I'm selling right now, 10 homes right now, I might sell one to an investor, where 2 years ago, I was selling 10 out of 10 to investors. Now I'm selling one to an investor. The other 9 are homeowners in Kansas City. All of them are homeowners in Kansas City. And so for us, it's like as tenants move out, we get the homes ready to rent again, and then we put it on the market for a homeowner, and we try and sell it like that. And we've been like really successful. And a lot of you guys are agents. You guys know, if you go see a Pat Grace house, bro, you're not gonna walk into granite. You're not gonna walk into all this shit. Like, I'm not Taj Mahal in any of this. Like, I mean, my wife has her own houses and she got her own stuff going on. And she, you know, but when we go into those projects, our exit strategy is to sell, right? My stuff, our exit strategy is dual exit. At the end of the day, if I can't sell it within 30 to 60 days, I want to rent it. And so I can't fix them like that. And so we've been at for a while. My wife does her own flips and her own stuff, and I can't talk to what she like. The stuff she does is like really nice, really good, but it's not it's not what I do. What's up?
You know, like fire damage.
Oh,
abandonment.
yeah. Never buy them. I don't. You know, like, hey, Dave, I'm a big volume guy, right? Hey, I can't have my crews tied up on one project for 3-4 months. That is not what I'm trying to do. So for me, I skip fires, bad basements. I buy them. I don't have time for them. I don't want to do them. If the house is dirty or whatever, and you know, as long as the foundations are solid, I'll buy them. But I'm not dealing with fires. I'm not dealing with foundation issues. I just buy those types of projects. And honestly, I shouldn't even say this because I'll probably get sued now after I said it, but I've never, out of all these homes I've sold in my life, thousands of homes, I've never been sued by somebody that was like, yeah, you sold me a faulty house. You know what I mean? Like, if you don't buy the faulty ones, then you won't sell the faulty ones. And so I just kind of stay away from that. I just don't have time. I don't have the patience or the time to sit here and deal with big projects. I'm a volume guy. I like to, you know, I'll pay a little bit more on houses and I'll overbid you guys on houses just because I know my construction cost is cheaper than most of you guys. And I'll, you know, just sell it. And I'm not doing any fires or bad foundations. I just don't get into those. I'm not saying you can't make money on them. I'm not saying it's a bad investment. Just not what I do. Any other question?
All right, one more, we got to wrap it up. What's your question?
For what? That's a tricky question because I'm going to say yes and no. I don't know. You got to look at your loan docs. And I mean, if you had a prepay penalty when you sign your loan docs, then yeah, you have a prepay. If you didn't, then you don't. And so I don't know how to answer that question. You gotta look at your loan docs or call your loan officer and ask them if there was a prepay penalty on the deal. And a lot of times the prepay on a 30 might be like a certain percentage year 1, a certain percentage year 2, a certain percentage year 3, and then after year 4 or 5 it's gone. So if you keep it for 5 years, then there's no more prepay. But I would check with your lender on that because, hey, you bring up another good point. Like these prepays, I don't know. I just don't deal with that either. Like I'm not closing any loans where I'm stuck in a deal for 3 to 5 years. I might do a 1 year prepay, you know, like 1 year. I'm like, yeah, I'm good with that. But I'm not doing like long-term 3 to 5 year prepays. But you got to check with your lender on that. I don't know how to answer that because every loan program is different.
Guys, real quick, put your hands together for Pat Graves real quick.
Man, my man.
All right, thanks, man. Find deals. Come talk to me about that. We're actually going to be starting up with the mentorship, like a power hour to where we're going to be every single day, you know, meeting every morning, whether it's in person or virtually in an office, and calling and doing our marketing guys in an environment where we have a guy like me over your shoulder to walk you through every deal and scenario, along with some other, you know, very experienced guys. You know, you can get so much done when you're